In today's video, we're going to be talking about the best and worst parts of the suburbs near and around Fort Lauderdale. My name's Rob Zeoli. I'm a realtor right here in South Florida. And again, in today's video, we're going to detail the best and worst parts of the suburbs near and around Fort Lauderdale. So this way, if you're planning a move, if you're already here looking for a place or a relocation, you can use this as a handy guide. And we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons of these particular suburbs in no particular order, starting out with the city of Weston. Now, Weston is an amazing suburb. It's highly sought after and one of the most popular in all of Florida. Now, Weston is on the western edge of Broward County and borders the Everglades, and it's great for families that like to be a little further away from the hustle and bustle and have a little distance from the city. Now, because of Weston's location, you still have easy access to some of the major interstates. So you got I-75 that goes north and south, and then you also have I-595 east and west, so pretty easy access getting around throughout the greater Fort Lauderdale area. Now, Weston also has very highly rated school systems. It's also very safe, and it also has a lot of really desirable, fully manicured master plan communities to choose from when it comes to your housing options. Now, one of the negatives of Weston has to be the cost of living. So Weston is not only one of the most expensive in Florida, it happens to be one of the most expensive in the entire country. Now, Weston is also lacking in entertainment and nightlife. So a lot of residents will wind up going to downtown Fort Lauderdale or even Miami, each of which has unlimited options for entertainment and nightlife. Now, moving on to number 2 in the list, and these are in no particular order, is Plantation. And really quick, let's just add to the list of negatives for all of these suburbs has to be the weather. I was planning on doing this video outdoors today, but it is over 90 degrees. And trust me, if you're going to stand outside with a camera or do anything outdoors, if you're out there for more than 5 minutes, you're going to be sweating, extremely humid and hot. We all know that about South Florida. Now, as far as Plantation, one of the greatest advantages, which is immediately apparent, is its incredible location. Plantation is located directly in the center of the greater Fort Lauderdale area, so you have easy access no matter where you want to go. Here in Broward County, greater Fort Lauderdale, or anywhere in South Florida, Miami, Palm Beach, very easy access with the interstates, just where the city of Plantation is located. Now, this is a great benefit for the people that live here in Plantation or also commute here for work. So Plantation has a thriving business community. Businesses are spread between 3 separate districts known as Plantation Gateway, Plantation Midtown, and also Plantation Technology Park. In addition, Plantation has dedicated over 600 acres to parks and green space. I'm sitting right now in Central Park, which is a very popular park here in Plantation. There's also numerous well-known golf courses throughout Plantation, so unlimited as far as activities, outdoor activities with having to do with parks and also golfing. Plantation also has very diverse housing options. So there are a bunch of different condos, townhomes, and single-family neighborhoods to choose from. As far as the single-family neighborhoods, you have a good mix of gated and non-gated communities. Also, Plantation has a lot of communities that have very large lots. Plantation Acres is one in particular, which is actually an equestrian community. So you can have horses and people that are into that equestrian lifestyle, riding. Great area there in Plantation Acres. Plantation is also one of the only areas that I know of that has some neighborhoods that offer you ocean access that are this far west. So you have Plantation Isles, Plantation Harbor, you have Isla del Sol, all offer ocean access. You're going to have some fixed bridges. I think there's 3 fixed bridges, 2 or 3 on your way down to the ocean. It'll take you about an hour if you obey the no wake zones to get to the open ocean, but very popular and very rare right here in the greater Fort Lauderdale area to get ocean access, again, this far west. Now, as far as the negatives on Plantation, one of them has to be all the building going on. So if you just drive through the city, you're going to see construction sites everywhere. A lot of them are new rental complexes that are being built up. And this is not only in Plantation. I just happen to live in Plantation, so I see them all the time, but they're popping up everywhere. Also, Plantation does not have favorable ratings when it comes to schools. And this is another thing about data and looking online for data and trying to pick an area can be a little bit deceiving as far as that. I know plenty of people that have gone to the schools here in Plantation, as well as some of the other suburbs here in Fort Lauderdale that don't have favorable school ratings, but that is definitely one of the negatives as far as Plantation. Now that's going to bring us to Coral Springs. Now Coral Springs is a really nice master plan community in northwestern Broward County, or the greater Fort Lauderdale area. So the careful planning that went into creating Coral Springs is still evident today. The building codes were designed to preserve the aesthetics and the scale of the town. Coral Springs has some very popular and sought-after single-family home developments and a bunch of little subdivisions and complexes within those. Some are gated, some are non-gated, very tastefully landscaped, and gives you a lot of diverse choices when it comes to your housing and looking for a place to live. Now, Coral Springs also has a bunch of different parks. I think there's over 50 of them. There's an aquatic center, a tennis center, numerous dog parks, tons of sports fields, and much, much more. Now, as far as the negatives of Coral Springs, some people think it's a little bit out of the way. There's really not many interstates near Coral Springs, although it is bordered by the Sawgrass Expressway. So that's just one of them. And this is going to take us on to our next suburb, and that is Davie, Florida. So Davie, Florida is another suburb like Plantation that has a great location pretty much directly in the center of Broward County. It occupies a stretch between I-95 and Griffin Road all the way out to Interstate 75. Davie is also one of the most populous suburbs in the area. It has more than 100 in-town residents. Now, one thing that's pretty interesting about the town of Davie is that it's considered frontier territory, so it was designed with a Western theme in mind. So there's a lot of Western themed buildings and neighborhoods, and it's not uncommon if you're in a particular neighborhood to see someone on horseback, you know, up and down some of the trails while you're out there shopping or doing something else. So the town of Davie is another suburb that caters to the equestrian community. So residents of Davie can take advantage of several community parks, including the Botanical Garden and Wildlife Sanctuary known as Flamingo Gardens. Now, Davie has some very, very diverse housing options with a great mix of condos and townhomes. Davie also has a bit of prefab and manufactured homes, various single-family home neighborhoods, including some equestrian neighborhoods like the Fruitlands, where you can find multi-acre properties of farmland, complete with equestrian facilities, barns, and the neighborhood with miles and miles of bike and horse trails. So again, what's really interesting is that this is all pretty much directly in the center of a major metropolitan area like Fort Lauderdale. Now, Davie also has some really, really good schools, including universities like McFadder University and Nova, just to name a few. And these are where college students come from all over the country to study for their medical, tech, and different business degrees. Now, the negatives for Davie, there's a lot of college kids. So, you know, during the time when school is in, it could be a little more congested, and they're not the best drivers in the world because they really don't know where they're driving. They don't know the area very well. So that's one of the negatives of Davie. And we're going to head over to our next on the list, and that is Parkland. So Parkland is voted #2 as best places to live in all of Broward County. So Parkland is located just south of North Palm Beach, and can you guess? Parkland is full of parks. Now, this makes it extremely easy for residents to find a place to play golf or baseball or soccer, football, and tennis. There's also plenty of places and playgrounds for the kids. They have a lot of different dog parks, and Parkland even has an equestrian center where you can do some horseback riding. Now, Parkland is a wealthy area and has a suburban vibe, and it's kind of removed from the busy shopping centers and congestion of of downtown. Now, Parkland is also known to be very peaceful, very quiet, and is also a very, very safe area with some very, very good schools. The negatives of Parkland is it's very, very expensive. Now, Parkland is an affluent suburb, very similar to Weston, and one of the most expensive to live in all of Fort Lauderdale. I think that the median sale price for a single-family home in Parkland has just gone over $1 million with the market conditions going on here in South Florida, so it's not cheap. Now, the second negative of Parkland is the location. So it is out of the way, so you're gonna have to do a bit of driving if you want to get somewhere, even to go shopping. It also lacks in nightlife and entertainment, very similar to Weston. So most people wind up going to either Boca, Palm Beach, or downtown Fort Lauderdale for their entertainment and nightlife options. And this brings us to the next on the list, and that is Cooper City. Now, Cooper City describes itself as someplace special, and it is also very highly rated and voted the number 3 place to live in all of Broward County. Now, Cooper City is a very small suburb. I think there is around 35,000 residents, so it is kind of small compared to the other suburbs, but it has a lot to offer. So Cooper City is surrounded on all sides by just about anything that you could want to do or see. It has easy access to Interstate 95, easy access to Interstate 595. You can pretty much get anywhere in South Florida with no problems here in Cooper City. It's bounded by Griffin Road and North University Drive, Sheridan Street, and South Flamingo Road. Now, there was some pretty neat planning going on when they designed Cooper City, because all the commercial areas are on the outskirts of the city. So the interior of Cooper City is dedicated to all the residential neighborhoods, and also lots and lots of green space and parks. Now, Cooper City also has some very, very highly rated schools, and Cooper City is the home of the Brian Piccolo Sports Park and Velodrome. So the Brian Piccolo Sports Park and Velodrome was opened in 1989. The park is 175 acres, and it has established itself as one of Broward County's primary centers for athletic activity. I guess it was named after Brian Piccolo, who was one of the top athletes in South Florida history. Now, the park's velodrome is one of 3 in the southeastern U.S. and the only one in the entire state of Florida. Now, the negatives of Cooper City is that it's a very small suburb, so it's kind of lacking when it comes to your housing options. Now, Cooper City does have condos and townhomes available, but the bulk of the options you have for housing are going to come in single-family communities, and a lot of them are in gated communities, and they're on the higher end of the price spectrum. And this is going to take us to Pembroke Pines. Now, Pembroke Pines is a long, narrow community that stretches from the Everglades to the Florida Turnpike between Pembroke Road and Sheridan Street. So the suburb of Pembroke Pines is the most southerly, or the furthest south, of the top Fort Lauderdale suburbs, and it's an excellent choice for those looking for easy travel to anywhere in Hollywood or down to Miami. Now, Pembroke Pines is quite large. It's got about 170,000 residents, and that makes it one of the most populous suburbs or cities in the entire state of Florida. Now, obviously, with the size of Pembroke Pines, there's numerous options when it comes to parks and shopping and malls and all that types of stuff. And also, being that it's so large, you have unlimited housing options here in Pembroke Pines. Now, they really have unlimited options when it comes to housing. Condos, they have 55 and over. Community Century Village is a huge 55 and over condo complex here in Pembroke Pines. Townhomes, and a lot of different gated and non-gated single-family home communities. So you can grab some condos, again, like I said, the ones in the 55 and over communities for under $200,000. The bulk of the single-family homes will be around $600,000, or between 4 and 6, but they do also have some luxury gated communities, and a lot of these are in western Pembroke Pines. Now, these are going to sell for anywhere in the high 6 figures up to a couple of $1 million. Now, the negatives of Pembroke Pines is the location. So it's really far south, and a big portion, especially the popular portions, are kind of on the western edge, so kind of far away from downtown Fort Lauderdale and the beach, but a lot closer to, say, Hollywood, Miami Beach, and any of the other areas or attractions in South Florida. having to do with Miami or even further south. So I guess it's a positive in that respect if that's what you're looking for. We are going to wrap it up right there, guys. I really, really appreciate you watching, and I hope you got something from this video and you could use this as a very handy guide if you want some information or planning a move here to South Florida. We went over some of the pros and cons of some of the most popular neighborhoods, cities, towns, suburbs, whatever you want to call them, near Fort Lauderdale. I'm available 24/7 if you have any questions or need any real estate help. All my information is down in the description, and I look forward to talking to you and making your transition here to South Florida a very, very smooth one. I will catch you on the next video. Take care.